Hello, and welcome back to Lock and Load 2019. It's Jeff Olson, your playtest coordinator, with his best friend, Jeff Hanley, social media coordinator. We're coordinating lots of things. There's a lot of coordination going on in this stream, and we are here for round Dwa, which is 2 in no language, of the Monsterpocalypse One Monster Tournament.
Maybe it's 2 in the pterosaur language.
That's not impossible, or it could be Mole Manish. Yes.
One of our players in this round is going to be playing pterosaurs.
Yes, today we have in round 2, I don't want to kill these names, we have Oz Barta playing Hammerclack and Charles playing my boy Terracon. I love more than anything the Dino Mans in Monsterpocalypse. They're my favorite looking models, except for maybe now the apes.
Yes.
Which is why the army I'm going to
call.
build is just going to be Dino Mans and Ape Mans.
Yes. I mean, you can't not play Terracon and Kondo together. That's
I
classic I
can because
pairing.
I'm going to do Terracon and Hondo.
Or Armadex and Hondo's another great. That's double armored right there.
Yeah, that sounds spicy.
Yes.
I'm all about that.
That sounds like a very dull game for your opponent who can't kill your monsters ever.
Yes,
literally.
they're just going to be bopping you, and you're just going to be shrugging it off the whole time. Floggerish asks in Twitch, where's the War Machine stream? Floggerish, the War Machine stream will be tomorrow. Today is the LCQ is happening, and we will be streaming the Monsterpocalypse tournament today.
All Monsterpocalypse all the time.
Yeah, and tomorrow will be War Machine, all the Cheens, all the time.
Yes.
So we are back at the Isle of Annihilation. If you missed our last round, which was between Michael Ireland and Josh Gardner, Michael Ireland took the dubs.
Yep.
We'll be playing on the stream games today will be the Isle of Annihilation. And the big feature of the Isle of Annihilation is the huge volcano in the middle of the table, which makes walking monsters kind of sad. And speaking of sad walking monsters, we have some walking monsters today who are going to be dirtling their way through some volcanics. And speaking of volcanoes, there's more volcanoes going on because there goes
another Mount Terra.
Yep, Mount Terra. Very, very powerful building. Can you tell us a little bit about the tectonic shift on it?
Tectonic shift, I believe, is that he can spend 1 action die during either his unit or his monster
we reserve the
phase.
right to be wrong on these. We're going to reference the card, though. We keep talking.
But you can spend an action die to move one of your monsters up to 2 spaces. The important thing there is that you can do it during during your unit phase as well as your monster phase, I think.
So it gives you, potentially a ton of mobility.
Yes.
Yes,
And
during your unit or monster activation says it.
Oh, it does.
This model can spend an action die. Yep. Advance
We're
your
going to
monster
talk
2
to
spaces.
Mike Ryan about that.
Yeah, activation?
Yes.
Just for a little bit of perspective here, Oz, not to be confused with Oz. This is double Z Oz. Oz. He's going to be on the left part of your screen playing Hammerclack, Climmerclam, as I call him. And Charles is on the right playing Terracon. Ooh,
I like his paint job on that Terracon.
Yeah, like the red and the black?
Yes.
That always looks good.
Mine is more of an army green for skin
like a,
with a bone color for the chitin.
I'm sorry, gosh darn it, olive drab, like that
Yes.
kind of color. I like the Tokyo Triumph. I'm a big fan of that because my wife and I are going on a trip to Japan here in September.
There is not going to be one of those in Japan.
Why not? Because Monster smashed it?
If there is one, you should be concerned about a Terracon showing up.
Yeah, but I want to go visit the actual Tokyo Tower in Japan and then sculpt a tiny little Jeff and Robin. As I hit my mic, a little Jeff and Robin on my Tokyo Triumph.
Those would be very tiny.
Yeah.
Maybe one of them would be tinier than the other.
Robin is an Amazon of a woman.
Oh. I was talking about you being the tiny one.
Oh, yeah, I'm the wee lad.
Yes.
Frothy Cat tells us that activation got errated. Yes, we did just, by the way, if you are a Monsterpocalypse fan and you did not know, we did release a little bit of an FAQ just the other day on our website. You can go and track that down. It doesn't, rebalance anything. It just clarifies a couple little doodads.
There have been some outstanding ruling questions on certain abilities. Fling was at the top of that list, and it did get ruled on. So you can go to monsterpocalypse.com and check the FAQ page. And at the very bottom of that, you'll find a link to the errata, which came out on Thursday.
I'm going to move our cards
Maybe
here.
Wednesday.
I'm confused. Boop, there we go. So just so everyone kind of understands the way our HUD looks, we got Hammerclack and Terracon and their hit points. We're going to be updating Tony, who's going to keep those numbers up to date. And if you see a blue bar, that means that they're still in their alpha form. And when you see a yellow bar, it means they're in their...
they have gone hyper.
Hyper! Yeah. So it looks like we've gotten all of their foundational buildings up there. As we mentioned in the previous game, if you didn't get a chance to catch that one, we were talking a little bit about how there is...
something big just happened.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that here in a second. But there's less foundation spots on the Isle of Annihilation. So what just happened there? Let's talk about that, because that's a B deal.
So Oz has an Imperial State building, which has an ability that says if you are controlling it, you can spend an action die to switch an uncontrolled building with another unsecured building with another unsecured building.
And how do you secure a building?
You have 3 units adjacent to that building.
And that does include diagonals for people who are... Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. We're doing this. Yeah, we're going to telestrate this. Sorry. This is... Jeff and I are having a chance to do some sweet color commentary. So what happened is this Mount Terra, the yellow obviously shows up very well against the beachfront property, was right here. And he went... Oh, shoot. That wasn't far enough. There we go. Perfect. Professional.
It stopped for rest.
Yeah. So, yeah. Had to get a water break. And so what that's going to do is he's basically sandbagging him. He just said, hey, here's an apartment. Have fun with that. Apartments, by the way, are kind of like the default building in the game. They don't do a ton except be there. And, frankly, you use them offensively. You literally intentionally place them in your opponent's power base to give them less cool stuff.
And in this case, he gave him one, and he stole his Mount Terra.
Yep. And we got this cool little, you can see little markers he's got there indicate. I mean, I'm just going to be doing this nonstop now. Oh, Tony, we're going to change that color. Get away from that. Yeah, blue's good. When we do a test, let's see how blue shows up.
Ooh, that's... How about a pink? Looks like we're going pink here.
Yeah, Frothy Cat says he did the yoink. Yeah, I'm down. That's the new technical term. That's canonical, the yoink. Now, the idea is like the Imperial State Building is like rezoning.
Yes.
Like actively in the middle of a war zone. It's like, you know what? Send some urban planners over there. We're going to tear that down and we're going to erect an apartment building.
We're going to solve this monster problem by moving some buildings around.
Yep.
I do like that's Oz's Imperial State Building with the little lights. Some of the windows are lit up.
Oh, yeah. I didn't notice that until, you mentioned that. That is cute. I like that a lot. I love all the cool stuff people are doing with their buildings.
People have found ways to be really creative with their
By
painting.
far, my favorite ones so far were the ones that have, like, the neon 80s, like, fade to them. Like, it looks like a Florida 80s skyline.
Yes.
From, like
straight out of Vice City?
Yes, precisely. That stuff is rocking. It looks like we're playing. So is it pure? It looks like it's. Let me double check the list. Actually, we have right here. I'm pretty sure he's playing pure. No, he does have some G tanks.
He has
in
some
there
guard support in there because G tanks are great for holding buildings and keeping your base secure.
Yep. Strike fighters are also really good.
Yes.
They can just do. They're just kind of like they're fast. They do a lot of work.
Yeah. Oz cannot play pure faction because Hammerclack does not have any units for the Subterran Uprising yet.
And if you caught our keynote, we may have shown off
some of the upcoming unit concepts.
Ooh, is it after 11 o'clock? If
it
you have not yet,
after noon.
So if you didn't manage to catch our keynote live, you can actually go to our YouTube and actually watch all of those. They're all now uploaded. So go after you're done watching the Jeffs give you some fantastical commentary for this wonderful game of Monsterpocalypse. You should go and catch up on those. Ooh, you can watch the keynote on Twitch right now, says Tony. Tony, just for my clarity, can they actually hear you when you say that? Okay. Tony's talking to our head, so I just want to make sure that I'm repeating his information.
And while Tony did put in all of the work on the keynote, I would like to take much of the credit because I pushed a button several times.
Yeah. No, the button press was key.
Yes.
Key to the keynote.
Yes.
So Hammerclack. Hammerclack is powerful. He is strong. I think people are beginning to realize his wasn't even hidden potential, but I think people were... He was overshadowed by Kraken Octus.
Yes.
People were excited for what Cracked Noctis brought to the table, and didn't get an opportunity to really explore all the goofiness that Hammerclack brings to the table as
Both
well.
of these monsters are very high damage output.
Yeah.
They have a lot of potential to do a lot of damage very quickly. Terracon, when he goes into hyper, can do a
he does super damage brawling. He does like couple hits or something, right? Yeah, lightning attack, yeah. So when Terracon goes super, when he makes a brawl attack, he can do additional ones.
Yes.
And that can kind of be key because as you'll probably, as will very likely occur as the game progresses here, you'll notice there'll be less and less buildings to blow up.
Yes.
And so having a monster who can just walk up and go slap, slap, can really help.
He also does super damage if he has a pterosaur unit next to his target.
Yeah. Get that.
So he can do a pretty significant chunk of damage in a single activation.
Now, Hammerclack has got all sorts of wacky mobility stuff going on.
Yes.
Like, he is going places and he's doing things. He has Sprint, which allows him some additional movement. He also gives, is that when he goes hyper, or is it all the time? No, it must be in his alpha form. Sorry, I'm just double-checking, make sure I'm not lying to
We are Monsterpocalypse experts.
Well, there's lots going on. I want to make sure I'm not, like, giving the wrong information. I'm just double-checking my wording before I die. But yes, he gives Cloak, and Cloak, by the way, makes it harder to get shot at, basically. Oh, yeah, Hammerclack does have a C.
Yes.
We're going to have to fire Tony now.
Hammerclack does also have an ability called Crunch, which says that if he rolls a Super Strike, which is the equivalent of rolling a 6 on a single die, he does an additional point of damage.
Yeah.
It turns out that is only on your action die, and if you were like me and playing that wrong for the first 2 months and were rolling any Super Strikes, he was all Weapon Master all the time.
So let's talk a little bit about what Hammerclack's doing. Hammerclack is going up and trying to cripple and or damage the power base of Terracon.
Yes.
So he's cruised across the table. He's run up to those secured buildings that Terracon has, and he's doing. I'm just double making sure. Is he doing a stomp?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's taking out the units. Now, that's making sure that one, he's going to collect dice for killing those models. It also means that those buildings are no longer secured, so we're not accruing power dice and such. And Tony, if you could do us a favor, Hammerclack does not have a C in it; it's a K.
It's K-L-A-K.
I'm sorry. It wasn't us; it was Twitch chat. No, Twitch chat's got your back.
The other important thing to note is that even if he hadn't destroyed those units, he would still prevent Charles from securing that guard base anymore because he is adjacent to it at that point.
And we've talked about the guard base in the last game is pretty essential. A lot of players are using the guard base even if they're not protector players. So every faction has kind of like their little faction building.
Yes.
And essentially what that building does, and you can see there's the guard base out there, you can see the Mount Terra, is essentially what they usually do is they give you a discount for spawning units of that faction type.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have a universal rule
that any agenda or faction can use.
Yeah, and so the guard base, ooh, nice. I like that. The guard base gives you a reroll.
Yes.
And that can literally be like...
There's nothing like having a 90% chance roll and you just miss it.
Yes.
And especially in one-monster games, a single missed attack can swing the game.
Yeah, so this is a one-monster tournament. The two-monster tournament will be tomorrow. One-monster tournaments are kind of like a game of chicken. Because when the action starts is going and they start flinging each other into buildings and stuff, it can spiral out of control very quickly, and missing a critical attack, it can literally be the game. So having that reroll is essential, especially in this format, to staying ahead of the curve, basically. Staying ahead of the damage on all that.
So it looks like they're playing Ring Around the Volcano here.
Yeah.
And they're kind of just dancing around each other and that big hazard in the middle of the board while going after each other's bases.
Yep. So, and this is just... This can be sort of what can happen in a one-monster game. Like I said, it's kind of like a game of chicken.
Yeah.
It's going to be... Someone's going to have to commit eventually. Because what's going to happen is they're just going to dirtle around and blow up all the buildings.
Yeah, and like we said before, you don't want to commit and then miss on that first swing.
Yeah.
Because that can just be the game. It's a slippery slope.
I have to imagine that if enough of the buildings get destroyed, that the game kind of goes in Terracon's favor in that point. Because at hyper form, he gets additional brawl attacks. He also has just one more hit point.
Yes.
That like in my headspace, that sounds like there's an advantage there.
Yes.
There's no buildings to throw each other into.
Yes, and I think that, honestly, I feel like Hammerclack is stronger in 2 monster games than 1 monster games because he can be incredibly great at generating power dice.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has Power Gorged, and it was ruled earlier this week that Power Gorge triggers for every enemy you kill. So you can ram or trample. It's not called trample. What's the rampage?
Rampage.
You can ram and rampage, and you get action dice for every enemy you destroy in the process.
Yeah.
Not just a single action die back.
The Frothy Cat brings up an excellent point in Twitch chat. The Hammerclack is a lot faster, which is very true.
Yes.
So it's kind of up to Terracon to force the engagement because if Hammerclack is cagey, he'll always just be out of range, essentially.
Yes.
Now, the monsters can step, but that does cost some of their dice. And they can't step, like, indefinitely.
Yes.
So this is much different than the previous game where we saw Michael Ireland's Ares mothership, like, fly across the table into his face. And then they started body slamming each other.
That game was over, or the end of the game was initiated on the top of 1.
In many ways, yes. Yeah, we were
one way or the other. That game was going to end quickly, which is how many of my games go.
Which monsters do you typically like to run? What's your pairing, as it were?
Prior to Kondo coming out, I was playing a lot of Terracon Defender X.
Okay.
I really like
staple.
Yes, Defender X. I played a lot of while demoing the game because a lot of people I showed the game off to were naturally drawn to destroyers. And I just have grown to have an affinity for Defender X.
All right.
What about you?
Are you excited for Nova ESR? The new one we showed on. I mean, it's okay to not be excited for her if that's like not your thing. I like her model a lot.
I'm going to wait and see on her.
Okay, fair enough.
I will say I really did like her Mark 1 version with the swag lean that she had.
Okay. In terms of like looks, I really like excuse me. I really like the dinosaurs. I really like the apes. I definitely flirted very briefly with doing Lords Cthulhu and having Brugrosh and Yasheth and going like pure Lords Cthulhu just from a
I do like how Yasheth looks.
Yeah, I love his model. And then he just kind of slaps with his big fish hands.
He looks like a grumpy old man walking around in his boxers.
Yeah. That's a good call.
With his big old belly hanging out.
Yep. Looks like we are having a dinosaur party over here. So it looks like we're probably going to do a big combined brawl, probably led by a Carnodon. Just going to try and take a bite out of Hammerclack here. This is kind of where... Now, one of the big differences about this edition of Monpoc is that the units in general are a lot less threatening. They're definitely more of a support aspect to the monsters themselves. But Carnodons and their friends are definitely where you can start dealing some damage, especially where Hammerclack has kind of put himself deep in the power base without an opportunity to escape.
Yes.
And it looks like Charles is just going to like, well, here's some dinosaurs, and they're going to bite you.
Yep.
Nom, 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 nom.
So, Jeff, since we were talking earlier about each faction's buildings, which is your favorite faction building?
I like Mount Terra aesthetically, and I also like, have we shown the ape one?
Yes.
Okay, I love the ape one aesthetically.
Yes.
As a gamer, the reroll from the guard building.
Yes.
Like,
I'm on the same page as you for which rules are the best. I like the guard building the best. I don't like missing attacks.
So, I think, did we deal point damage there? Can we double check on that actually? Just double check their health totals. I'm pretty sure unless the dice roll just whiff-a-roonied and we weren't paying a ton of attention. I'm pretty sure our floor runner is gonna, awesome, yeah. So yeah, the dinosaur party did in fact deal a damage, a big combined brawl attack to Hammerclack there. So now it looks like Hammerclack realizes, oh wait, I can't just be cruising around in all this dinosaur hot tub, party. I need to get over there and start maybe forcing an engagement.
It's also worth pointing out that since Hammerclack has high mobility, he can cruise right through that volcano.
Yeah. Because he's not going over it, though.
Yeah.
He's going under it.
Yes.
Got them big drillers.
Terracon does not have the ability to do that.
I think I just heard one of the players say something about a SWAT attack. So let's see where this is being executed. Looks like Charles is maybe going to SWAT something.
I can't see from this angle what he is swatting.
Yeah, I see that Squix at the corner.
There might be one hiding behind the downtown high-rise.
Yeah. Negatron.
Well, he's doing something, that's for sure.
We'll figure
he's
it out.
Rolling some dice.
We will see what models get pulled here in a second.
Or
definitely
that is
a decent
not
roll.
A great roll.
I know. I see some double strikes
I see
on there.
Super strike, yeah.
Oh, I see. He was probably swatting the Squix into the to the Martian Flyer.
Yeah. Which?
Oh, wow! That's did he still tag him?
Flyers tend to have a naturally low defense. They're easy to hit.
You know what? I didn't catch the bottom action die. I only saw the red one. So I'm like, wait, Def 1? What? What? Okay, yeah. So that's going to clear out some of that and also clear a little bit of the power base. And I think what's really notable about this is he still has a ton of dice in his monster pool.
Yes.
So I think this is a little bit like of a bait. Like I'm gonna build some power dice, force you to come over to me, bot me into something, but now I've got a fat monster turn still to come back around the horn.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting call. There are no dinosaurs nearby, so
you're not gonna get like the flank.
Yeah. Oh, that is a hyperform ability.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But
feeding frenzy.
Going back to our earlier conversation, my favorite looking faction building is the Harbinger Comet Shard.
I love that one too, and Jordan did a great job painting that one. I just seeing the bear model, I wasn't sold on it, but when I saw several people's posters online, and I saw the studio one, and I was like, never mind, I'm sold.
Yeah,
that one looks great.
And I have modified mine so that it has a slight lean to it. It is not straight up and down, and I think it looks much better.
It looks like we got a throw from Hammerclack to Terracon, so that's going to be 3 points of damage right there. I'll put Terracon down to 8. So for people who are not super duper familiar with Monpoc, basically you deal point damage for performing the attack, essentially, the throw or the body slam or the whatever. You get a point of damage for every building you contact, and a point of damage for every hazard you contact. And most buildings leave fire behind.
Yes.
So that's where like a lot of the combo from the game comes into play. You're trying to build these situations where you can body slam or throw or whatever your opponent into large collections of buildings. And so the key spots on this map are wait, Telestrate.
Yep, it's with our
purple now. Yep, here we go. So these are like the building pairings on this map.
The danger zones. If you will.
And there's a couple other right here as well. Oh no! There.
Well, you can't get a double hit in there because there's a space in between.
There's this one space here. So you'll see. Okay, let me clear this. I was trying to illustrate an example here. So Terracon's right here, right?
Yeah.
That means he can go back and occupy like this space, for example, but will not contact this as well. So that's why these positions here are very key for getting combo damage off, because that could potentially be like 5 damage.
Yes.
1 from the attack, 2 from the buildings, 2 from the hazards. And we saw that in the last game. That's basically how Michael Ireland sealed the deal by throwing.
He did it so quickly in the process, too.
So those are like the danger zones. Other places on this map that you can get that kind of damage is like these corners with the volcano.
Yes.
You won't get the damage from contacting a building for the volcano, but
you're not going to get a full
hazard.
5, but you will get 4. And in this case here, you have that power plant in the bottom danger zone.
Yeah, this one down here.
Which, it is not going to light on fire when it gets destroyed, so it's only worth 4 points of damage if you get it thrown to the double buildings.
Yeah, so if you're new to Monsterpocalypse, there is a lot of strategy. And we talked about this earlier, but like your buildings are part of your list that you literally bring as part of your strategy.
Yeah.
And putting things like a power plant there, because it's safer for you if you feel like you might get thrown in there because it won't have the hazard. Like that's a part of the strategy of the game. Just kind of like how we talked about earlier, swapping the apartment with the Mount Terra.
Yes. Terracon's about to take a lot of damage here.
Yeah, it looks like he was counting up like 4 there.
He got thrown into the thing, and he triggered Crunch. He rolled a Super Strike.
Yep. So that's
going to be 4 points of damage.
So on Hammerclack's card, he has an ability called Crunch, and we talked about this for a second earlier.
Yes.
Basically, you're a huge
How I played
cheater.
it wrong.
Big cheater.
Yes.
Big cheats. Basically, if you roll a Super Strike on your action die, which are the white ones, which is the double face, it's basically equivalent of rolling a 6 or a 1, I suppose. You could look at it that way. If you're a low roller, if that's how you like to be.
You know what? This isn't golf.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. That should have been 4, or was it
Terracon.
5?
Terracon took 4 points of damage.
1 for the building, 1 for the hazard, 1 for Crunch, 4. And that should also put Terracon
into hyper form.
Into hyper.
Which is where he gets really dangerous, because he does get that extra brawl attack now, and he has the ability to do super damage if there's a Pterosaur unit adjacent to his target.
Yep.
So he can do a lot of damage. That's more than I can even count.
So if I was a wizard, in my opinion, the safe space to be was probably somewhere like here. But it looks like he's just going for the attack, because in this position, there's nothing to contact this way. There's nothing to contact this way. And if your opponent lines up here and body slams you into this position, you don't get the hazard.
He's either going to throw body slam you into the hazard or into the power plant.
But in this one monster format, that being aggressive is really what you have to kind of do.
It looks like Charles is playing catch-up now. He's going to try to throw him into that Mount Terra.
Yep.
Although it looks like he did not take his free brawl.
Which one are you talking about?
He did not take his lightning attack.
Because he didn't do a brawl. He did either a throw. He probably did a throw. So it's going to be 1 for the throw, 1 for the building, 1 for the hazard. So there should be Hammerclack down to 6, which does not quite put him into hyper form.
Which might be a good thing.
Yes, that is.
If Terracon can survive for another turn, like, you want to be able to keep them out of hyper form for as long as you can, and then just put a big chunk into them.
No, this is going to be.
Oh, this is
4 damage right here, right?
Yeah, this looks like it's.
So this might be a dead Terracon, because it will be a body slam into this position. Yep. And that's going to be 1 for this building, 1 for the hazard, 1 for this building, but no hazard, and 1 for the body slam itself. And that's just going to be.
So, Jeff,
Yes,
if
Jeff?
you were in Charles' position,
Yep.
would you have gone for that? He got aggressive because he felt like he needed to catch up. Would you have done that, or would you have played a safe game?
Probably would have played back a little bit and maybe try to take advantage of the blast attack on Terracon. Or maybe there's a world where you could do things like maybe spawn some range monsters.
There's also a downtown high rise. He could have backed up and brawled that to heal a point back.
Yes, that's a good call. That puts you. That's actually an excellent play right there.
And that puts you at 5 points, which is a lot safer on this map.
Yeah. So that's the end, I believe. Did they just kill? Do you want to double check? I think that should be a kill. I just heard them calling for your name, Tony. So yeah, and we're just going to get double verification, but we're pretty confident that is the end. That is going to be a W for Austin Oz, not to be confused with our Oz, Schoonover. So Austin Oz Barta, I believe, takes the win there with Hammerclack body slamming our boy Terracon into those buildings.
I'm a little sad.
But yes, so what Jeff and I were just talking about. Oh, and we got the handshake. Yep. GG's.
Yes.
All right. So we are going to be calling this round. So that one goes to Oz. Congratulations to him for winning this round. Again, this is a 1 monster tournament. It's like I said, there's chicken, right?
Yes.
There was some dancing, and it was about committing, and then once the commitment happened, the damage starts rolling out real fast.
Turns out Frothy Cat was right. Hammerclack was advantaged in this due to his higher mobility than Terracon.
Yeah, and I think we saw a little bit.
We saw where he decided to commit, and he cruised right through that volcano and got in there when Terracon couldn't get to him.
Yeah, and took advantage of those danger spaces that we were talking about, the doubles. So we are going to be finishing up here for this round. We will be going to the 3rd and I believe final round for this
potentially
one
final, depending on how matchups go.
Yeah, there is a pair down. There is a non-zero chance that we do go to a 4th round. But it's also very possible the next round is the final round for today's One Monster tournament. We do have other events going on as well today. If you're not here with us, join us at Lock and Load. We have an LCQ going on. We have some nerd events going on. Definitely keep an eye on our social media for all reports of all that kind of fun stuff. You can see people talking about all the cool information off our keynote. Make sure to hit up our YouTube so you can go and actually check out our keynote if you missed it. That all should be uploaded to our YouTube now. So, again, thanks for joining us. We'll probably be back here in
very soon.
30-ish minutes. I'm going to just kind of guesstimate that. Basically, once the round completes and we get all the pairings done for the next round and we get our opponents down here in the stream tables, we'll be back. Make sure you keep an eye on when we go live so you can follow us for our next round of tournament. Thanks for joining us today
Thank you.
at Lock and Load 2019.